It's episode 1266, and it's the Relevant Podcast. Here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Nashville, it's artist, producer, mogul, Derek Miner.
What's happening?
And just down the street there, our managing editor, downtown Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
Jesse was supposed to be on today and didn't get back in time. And Marty could only record as soon as we're done with the podcast. Like literally, he's like, I can record at this time. So anyway, so it's three of us today. But it's going to be a good show, though. Lecrae's coming up. Emily just talked to him. He has a new album that came out a couple weeks ago.
It's dope.
Going on
I like it.
Big tour. Yeah. It feels like it's back to his like heyday. You know what I mean? Not in a nostalgic way. It's fresh, but I mean, like he's back at that level. You know what I mean? So love it.
I do. I mean, we talked about it in our interview, but I mean, it was his 10th one. So like he did say he was kind of thinking a lot about the early days and his legacy that he wants. Like, so I think like that was kind of on his mind those early years in his career.
Yeah. I do want to acknowledge before we get going, I do want to acknowledge to the listeners, you know, this is coming out on Friday. We're recording this on Thursday. On Wednesday, there was a national tragedy that everybody's talking about still. I do want to acknowledge it, that we're not going to acknowledge it. I want to be sensitive to the very intense feelings that people have right now. And I also want to address the fact that we learned our lesson in 2020. The news cycle was very, very intense that year. It was an election year. There was a lot of protests and a lot of injustice that was at the front of mind, and it was affecting all of us. And we talked about it a lot on the show, and we heard from y'all after that year. Can we, our news feed is inundated with the heavy news, and we listen to the Relevant Podcast as an escape. And so when y'all are bringing the heavy news to the podcast, it's almost like heavier. And I'm like, you know what? That is a valid thing. This is an escape from the news cycle. So we're going to respect that and honor that and just have fun today. If you're not in the mood to have fun, maybe it'll lift your spirits. I don't know. That's our goal.
Or you'll just be upset that we didn't make you upset. So, and that's not going to work. So anyway, we're happy to talk about my album that's dropping.
I really did. Like, when's the release date? This is something you've been working on. You've been teasing it. When's it coming out? It's soon.
September 19th.
So literally next week.
Yes.
Next Friday, week. The day, like 1 week from right now. Okay. Yes. Is there anything you can tell us about it other than the clips we've seen on your IG?
I mean, the short story is it took me 6 years to make it. And when I made it, I wanted it to feel like an audio movie. So when you listen to the album, I know everybody is like, we only care about singles right now, but this album is meant to be listened to as a piece of art as opposed to just 10 different singles. So I did it with one of my best friends, Cannon, and I produced it. I produced a lot on it. I mixed the whole thing, mastered it. We're having fun. I had a lot of fun making it, but I'm excited to have this baby right now.
I want to ask what you mean by this is 6 years in the making, because you've been releasing music for 6 years. So like, what, like you started this years ago, but you released other projects. Like, kind of explain that to me.
Yeah, so I liken it to a painter that has multiple canvases in their room, and some of them you get it done in a day, and some of them take a long time. So this was just a canvas that I would leave, I'd come back to, I'd leave, I'd come back to, because it was a very specific sound and narrative that I wanted it to connect with. And I just wanted to make sure that all the pieces were in place. So sometimes albums for me come together literally in a month. And sometimes it takes 6 years. This one just took 6 years.
You said sound and message. What's the message? Because I have some thoughts about the sound because I've heard some of it. But what's the message that you are focused on?
Yeah, so when we look at today's culture, I named it Vigilante because my favorite superhero is Batman. And the reason I love Batman is because he looks at the world and he tries to improve it with his means. He just happens to be a very rich white man, so he can do a lot of work. But for us, we can do that every day. Like, and just even if we were circling back with the Charlie Kirk situation, you get a chance to actually make the world better by loving on people, by inspiring people, by resisting greed, by resisting shame and hate and all those different things. And that's what I want this album to do. Like all of you guys, if you're listening to this podcast, you're listening to it because you love to have fun. You also love to hear things that matter in culture. And I want to inspire you to listen, as you listen to this album away from the podcast, to be like, man, you know what, today, instead of choosing to dive into hate, I'm going to dive into love. I'm going to resist the system. So that's the main thing. So it has a very cinematic feel, has a like, it feels like a Batman movie, or it feels like a Spider-Man movie or something like that. And it's because, you know, we're all heroes in our own story. We get the choice to whether we let the things that have, that we've dealt with make us a hero or make us a villain. We all have that choice. It's just based on our choices.
So when I heard it, you keep saying cinematic. That's the vibe. It's very cinematic. It's not just like a traditional hip hop album. It's it's got like an epic score. The last time I saw an incredibly cool score in a movie, especially superhero movie, was Into the Spider-Verse. And I'm not saying in any way that this feels derivative to that, but you're talking about 6 years ago, and I'm remembering that's kind of the era. Is that kind of what maybe sparked it? Like, I want to do something that's epic like that, because you've achieved it. It really feels like it could be a soundtrack of a movie.
Yeah, well, both Spider-Verse albums are two of my favorite just albums in general.
Yeah.
The second one specifically, I love what Mike Dean and Metro Boomin did on those albums. So definitely I referenced, with my mixes, I referenced literally into like the Spider-Verse 2 album. Like I listened to those mixes. I was like, this is what I want it to feel like sonically. I think the album that probably inspired it the most though would probably be, and this is going to be crazy to even say, but it's probably Damn, like by Kendrick. Probably doesn't feel that way because Kendrick's album is a lot more, that album is a lot more soulful than this album. But the reason why it inspired it is because it's a narrative that's running, and it's a narrative that you feel rather than it's being told. Like when you look at To Pimp a Butterfly, they're telling you the narrative. When you look at Good Kid, Mad City, it's a lot more avant-garde. Damn was more like you felt what the story was about. And that's kind of what I want this one. That's what I wanted this one to do. But yeah, when we were making this album, we had a camp of some of my favorite producers and writers. And we had Airbnb in Florida, and I put up The Dark Knight, and I had it looping the whole weekend while we were making the album. So that's what kind of started the whole process of it. And that's what gave it the textures that it gave. Because it just, like literally The Dark Knight was on loop. So people would just go in different rooms and different sessions. And that visually what was being pumped into the room while we were creating the album. So
I am curious, like creating a like cinematic or visual album, how do you approach writing the songs differently?
That's a great one. So if you listen to all of my albums, Empire, Minorville, Reflection, they all are cinematic to different degrees. They just have different narratives. But like when I'm in album mode, I don't look at songs as songs. I look at them as scenes of movies. That's just how my brain works. But when I'm writing singles, I'm just like writing a song, and it's about the song structure. But when it's an album, it's different. If you were to ask me what I like making more, I like making albums more because every song feels like the scene in a movie. And that's why I love doing that. So this is just another continuation of that.
It's a different skill set too. It's like a writer writing a book versus writing an article. You know, it's like
absolutely
you're thinking about chapters and the pace, act 1, act 2, act 3. It's really different than just throwing out a essay or a song, you know, so interesting.
Yeah.
I feel like the art of the album is a lost art. So it's really cool that, and most albums these days are just a collection of a bunch of songs, right? I mean, they call it an album because they have 10 of them, but it's just, they're 10 songs. I mean, right?
Yeah.
So the fact that you're crafting it like there's an arc to it is really unique. It's really cool.
Yeah. And I'll be transparent. I learned that from the guest on the show, like Lecrae, an artist named Flame. We never done a lot of work together, but I remember one day I was on tour early in my career and Flame was like, your albums need to feel like there's a through line in it. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. So, and then my partner Street Symphony, who was my A&R during Minorville, they all taught me how to make albums. My albums changed after working with them. So, yeah.
Flame knows what he's talking about. Katy Perry stole his stuff, you know? I mean...
I was like, wait, Flame sounds so familiar. I forgot that's the Katy Perry guy.
He won the lawsuit against her. I don't know if he ever got paid, but
I know he's done other things, but like
he won it and then he unwon it. They
that's what I remembered. Something weird happened after he won it initially.
Yeah,
how did he unwin it?
Unwon it. Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, an appeal. They went and appealed it. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was like, nah, this ain't flying. So, but if you were to listen to his earlier stuff, his stuff was always. I mean, he's a preacher, so. Mm-hmm. You know, that's his albums were all big sermons. But yeah, I learned a lot. I learned a lot from that, and I use it to this day.
Wait, Flame's a preacher. Joe Baraka became a professor, I guess. Trip Lee's a preacher.
Trip Lee.
How come you're not a preacher?
Because I ain't a preacher.
But I mean,
KB's a preacher. He's a preacher.
KB's a preacher. That's right.
All those guys were preachers. I was the hood dude. I was the hood guy businessman. I stuck out like a sore thumb. They was just like, this dude is a crash out.
You don't want to be Pastor Derek? Come on.
Nah, I don't see it. You know what though? I'll put it this way. Like my label, RMG Amplify, I look at it as that's my ministry. That's who I shepherd. I shepherd my artists. Because, you know, being a creative, you guys are creatives too, just in a different way. You know, creatives' hearts need to be shepherded, and a lot of times it takes a creative to create to shepherd people in that way. So that's why I admire about Lecrae. Lecrae, I know at one point in time he was going to go to Bible college and do that thing, but you know he became a shepherd of his business. So that's kind of what I feel like. I'm more of a shepherd of RMG. That's what I do. As of now, there are no plans to don any suits or expensive shoes and walk across the stage and I'm not going to be a Philip Anthony Mitchell anytime soon. I don't see it. So
I give it 1 year.
Wear all black and have the dramatic music in the background.
You know, I want to honor something you just said, like the fact that you honored Lecrae. You know, if people know your career, you started out on Reach. You were one of the Lecrae's artists and stuff, and toured with them and all this stuff. But then, you know, you're not on Reach anymore. Obviously, you started your own label and all this stuff. A lot of times when people part ways, leave a label, stop working together, there's acrimony. And the fact that you are honoring the impact he had on your, you know, your career and your art is really cool. And I'm glad to see that, you know, you guys are all right, you know.
Go to therapy. Go to therapy, guys. Because I wasn't always. Go to therapy. Go to retreats. Go to Montana. Have good friends like Cameron and Propaganda and Marty, and you'll get through it eventually.
I love that we're trying to honor you for honoring someone, and you're like, let's actually pump the brakes on that.
It's been a long road to get here, you know.
It's been a long road, guys. I'm not going to take any credit here.
Well, we're at a good place now, right? There you go.
Yeah, we're great. Everything's great.
Move the show along. Stay tuned. Up next, it's Relevant Buzz.
Where bold women thrive, Sweetbriar College empowers women to lead with purpose and integrity. Our 2,847-acre campus is more than beautiful. It's a place to grow in courage, character, and calling. With hands-on academics, a close-knit community, and spaces like vineyards, greenhouses, and equestrian arenas, Sweetbriar blends tradition with vision. Founded in 1901, we've always believed in the power of women to shape a better world, faithfully, fearlessly, and together. Find out more at sbc.edu.
Okay, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
Tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week, Emily. Just the fun stuff. Keep it light.
Okay, I can do that. Let me ask you this question. What do Pharrell, Jelly Roll, Clips, John Legend, Jennifer Hudson, Karol G, Teddy Swims, and Andrea Bocelli have in common?
They sell a lot of records.
Andrea Bocelli. Wait, I mean, I know the answer to this. And you could add into there some gospel choirs and Italian choirs too.
Yes. Yeah. Cameron knows the answer to this. It was really for Derek. Yes, they have sold a lot of records. More importantly, they are all going to be performing at the Vatican's first ever concert this Saturday.
Yeah.
What?
The Vatican.
The Vatican is out here.
The Vatican's doing a Coachella with the
Can
Clips,
we get it on Ticketmaster?
Teddy Swims. Yeah, the Vatican.
Why is
St.
the
Peter's
Clips
Square.
at the Vatican?
That's what I'm saying.
That's the $1 million question.
Pharrell is performing with his gospel choir, that he's sometimes
So
performs with.
Pharrell and Andrea Bocelli, they're kind of co-leading it. They kind of put everything together. So I think that's how Clips got involved. But so this is the first ever concert. It's going to be out in the public. It's on St. Peter's Square. It is free. If you're in Rome this weekend, you can go. It is free and open to the public. It'll be on Saturday at 3 p.m. If you are not in Rome, you can live stream it on Disney Plus and Hulu. But the whole point of this is the Vatican this week has been hosting a world meeting on human fraternity, where they're bringing in different leaders and creatives from all over the world to just come together and be united, obviously in faith. And so this sort of unity through music is how pop and rap and gospel and opera are all coming together for this event.
But if they're united in faith, by my understanding, almost none of those artists you listed are Catholic. And I don't know that Teddy Swims or half of the Clips espouse any faith. Why are they there if the whole thing is unity in faith?
Well, Teddy Swims, I did look it up. He grew up in the church. Now it's a little unclear where he is currently, but he grew up in the church. So that was the connection. Like everyone else, at least grew up in the church or has some kind of John Legend and Jennifer Hudson. We know.
Pusha grew up in the church too. I mean, we don't know what he's on now, but and Malice is a strong Bible believing Christian. I just want to know what songs they're gonna do.
Right.
Yeah.
That is the question for me. It's like grinding is about selling dope. From ghetto to ghetto, the backyard, the how to put.
They might be doing some covers. We'll see.
Why they didn't bring? They
They're
didn't
gonna cover Lecrae.
They didn't bring one Christian rapper to that bug. They just like, hey, we don't care about none of that. Bring the Clips.
Yeah,
I
am curious why they didn't bring somebody like Lecrae. Honestly, like that's
huge.
Interesting.
Yeah,
NF did they bring Lecrae? Forrest Frank, he's white. Like you could have brought him. Like
but I don't know that Forrest is on like Pharrell's radar. You know what I mean? Like he's huge in our little bubble, but
true.
But it is surprising that there isn't Lecrae or someone like Brandon Lake, like someone who is very much a Christian artist.
Especially with Jelly Roll.
Jelly Rolls.
Jelly Roll could have brought Brandon.
Hold on, wait a second. There's no Christian artist on that y'all mentioned.
No.
No Kirk Franklin?
No.
Nope.
That's the miss right there. You're right. Because they're gonna have a gospel choir, and they're gonna have a gospel choir, but no Kirk Franklin. Yeah,
no
that's
Kirk.
Weird.
Yeah,
that's weird.
I'm surprised Maverick City been finessing their way into everything. I'm surprised they didn't finesse their way in this.
For real. Like I could have seen them be like the token gospel Christian group.
Or the choir. They could have been, that's crazy. There's no Christian representation at all.
I guess Voices of Fire would be, because the gospel choir, they're going to be there.
Yeah.
But they're really
that's
the
like
only
Pharrell's
ones.
gospel choir. Like he did that gospel choir show. Yeah. Voice of Fire is kind of associated with that.
I didn't even know he had a gospel choir. So
yeah. So he was on the cover of Relevant back in 2021 or so. And it was because he did a gospel reality competition show. So he did a gospel choir competition show and he hosted it and stuff. And so he was doing the media for that. We interviewed him and he was talking about, I grew up in the church. I mean, that's where I got my start musically and, gospel music, gospel choir. I want to honor my mom. I want to give back. And so it was like the whole thing was finding the next great gospel choir. That was the competition show. And it was one season. I watched it. It wasn't great, but he's
I think
trying.
This just goes to show how much of a bubble Christian culture is.
Yeah.
Like if anything, it just goes to show that like they don't, sometimes the impact we think we're having on culture for God isn't that at all.
We'll have to ask the Pope about that.
I don't know. We have to ask the Pope. We could ask.
My thing is, like, other than the opera singer guy, who's Catholic in the lineup? So they don't have any Christians. They don't have any Catholic artists either. So I
believe Carol G grew up Catholic. Again, not sure where she is now, but I believe she grew up Catholic.
Got it.
Yeah, it's live streaming this Saturday at 3 p.m. on Disney Plus and Hulu, or you can watch it on Disney Plus and Hulu once it's uploaded the following day.
Lady Gaga is Catholic. I'm looking it up.
If you brought Lady Gaga to the Vatican, I think a lot of people would have some issues with that.
They bring in Eclipse.
Is she singing the song Judas?
Dang.
Oh, true. Yeah, but if you want to dissect lyrical content, I'm back to what Derek just said. Clips. I mean, what are they doing there?
Okay, moving on. There is a new study that came out this week that found that Gen Z and millennials are now the most frequent churchgoers.
Come on.
Break that down.
Yes. According to the data, so Gen Z adults, so meaning 18 to 28-year-olds, not the kids being dragged to church by the parents. Gen Z adults attend church on an average of 1.9 times per month. Millennials are close behind at 1.8 times per month. So that works out to about 23 times per year for Gen Z and 22 times per year for millennials. To compare, Gen Z averages about 19 times annually, and baby boomers are closer to 17. On average, across all adults, it's about 1.6 times a year.
Clarify, these are people who said we are churchgoers. This is not across the non-believers. Because this is,
Correct.
I mean, while, yes, the headline is Gen Z attends church more frequently than any other generation, is closely followed by millennials. It is staggering to me that among people who answered these surveys saying we are a churchgoer, I am a churchgoer, and they say, well, how many times a month do you go? That the average is like 1. That is crazy to me. That like an entire generation of churchgoers goes 17 times a year. Now I know why the pastors are always stressed out. Nobody's going to church.
Right. Everyone looks like a new person.
They're like, well, we have like 5,000 members, and it's like there are 300 people at service. What are you talking about? No, we have 5,000 people who call this their church home, and it's like they just don't come. It's crazy to me. But anyway, the good news is Gen Z. So I wasn't surprised when I saw the millennials number because millennials, people think millennials rejected faith, they deconstructed, they walked away. But the reality is they deconstructed in their 20s, and in their 30s they got kids, and they, no matter what they went through in their 20s, they kind of want to raise their kids in the church. And so they're bringing their kids with them. They're 35, 40. That's the millennials. And that's not millennial. That's just always been the case. Back when I started Relevant and saw the need for Relevant in the 90s, it was because the church had programs for kids and youth. Once you turned 18 and started asking, why do I believe what I believe, and trying to figure it out on your own, the church had nothing to do with that. Like, that's doubt. We don't answer that. But they didn't care because they knew that you would come back in your mid-30s when you had kids. They just knew. So there was this 15-year gap that the church was just seemingly fine with. And that's why I started Relevant, to be honest with you. So it's like, hey, we can, like, let's not forget that 15 years. So it's not surprising to me that people in their 30s and 40s are coming back. What is surprising is that Gen Z is the number one most frequent churchgoers. They still don't even go 2 times a month, but they go more than anybody else. That's crazy.
But I would also say that deconstruction is not apostasy either. It was literally just most of us, we're just trying to find out what's the difference between the commercial stuff that's being thrown out there, that's being called Christianity, and what is our actual faith. Because there is the church, and then there's the business of church, and then there's the commercialization and marketing of church. And then for a lot of people that were deconstructing, they were just trying to find out what is real and what is not. So it would make sense that as you get older, as you learn more, as you experience life a little bit more, you have kids, you begin to see that, oh, I don't need to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Everything that I came up on wasn't bad, even though there are some things that all of us can look around and say, hey, guys, this has very little to do with God and a lot to do with marketing. You know what I'm saying? So I think,
I really like the phrase disentangling faith, because I think a lot of Christians do that more than because I used to say that I deconstructed my faith in college. I don't think I really did. It really was more disentangling, like you're saying, of like, there are a lot of foundational things I absolutely still believe, but there's a few of these sort of like tertiary issues that I am not sure what I grew up learning is what I still believe.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like I was disentangling, but not fully deconstructing. And the whole time I was still in church. I was actually still serving at a church. It was a different church than what I grew up in, but you know, so I think a lot of people were maybe disentangling more than deconstructing.
For sure.
But yeah, to Cameron's point, it is happily surprising to see that Gen Z is the most frequent churchgoers.
That really doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't make any sense. I mean, even with the whole, we've reported the rise of the nuns has plateaued, you know, the nuns being not the N-U-N, but the N-O-N-E, they have no religious affiliations, plateaued. We know that there is rumblings of spiritual renewal among the younger generation. Great. We love it. We applaud it. But the fact that they are literally the most frequent regular church attendees, it's very surprising to me, because most of what I see in the Gen Z spiritual experience is they may be on fire for God and they really encounter God and they have a lot of zeal, but it's more individual faith experiences and less about, and then I got plugged into a church. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I'm on fire for God and I'm going to talk about it on social media, and I'll go to the worship concert tour and I'll go to the big rally and all the things, and they love it and they no hesitation, but there really isn't a lot of conversation about then go get plugged into a church, get discipled, grow in community. There's really not that kind of conversation. So the fact that they are doing that is awesome and very surprising to me. So great.
Yeah. What's also surprising to me is, on the other end of this, is the dip in elders and boomers. Because the report talked about, 20 years ago, elders were going 2.3 times a month. Now they're only 1.4. And the researchers are very surprised by that. They don't have a reason. They have not quite figured out a reason as to why that shift has happened so quickly. But yeah, it is interesting to think about the shifting trends of the church and what the future.
So there's like this study that Barna put out, like there wasn't any analysis of why old people are walking away from church attendance.
No, they said that this was one of the first times that they've really, they do this study every few years. And so this, when they were doing it, they noticed like there is a noticeable dip now in older communities. And they have not quite figured out, like, is there a single cause? It's probably a lot of factors is what it'll end up being, but they haven't quite figured out what's actually leading to that.
I mean, you think the closer you get to death, the more you want to get right with God. You know what I'm saying? Like
I mean, low key, yeah.
I mean, I would. Yeah. It's like, even if I wasn't living seriously and I'm in my mid 70s, I'm going to go, I'm going to get right with the big man upstairs, I'm at
the church 7 days a week. Yeah.
But it might be the effect of this too, which is the 80s, the 70s, that Billy Graham revival era. Like, everybody was in church around the clock during that time. So it might be that people were like, you know what? Hey, man, I did my time. Like, I want to just live a little. And this Gen Z has had the opposite effect, which is all of their parents and grandparents haven't been dragging them to church 4 or 5 days a week. So they're like, they have this more exploratory idea of like, I need to get to know God, right? Because mom and dad and grandpa, they're kind of just chilling, and we talk about the Bible. They tell me about God, but I want to get a more deeper understanding. So maybe what we're seeing is like a boomerang effect in that sense. I think
you're onto something. That was my gut about the old people, that it's not that they've walked away from faith. They've just been there, done that, and we're good. Like, and so it's less urgent, less necessary. They got other stuff, So like, they know they're good with God. They don't need to worry about it. But I think you're right about the Gen Z, that it's like, they didn't grow up in the church. They didn't.
Yeah.
And so now that they're like, okay, I need to get rooted. I need to grow. I want to. And it's not obligatory. Like you said, like, I think that's an interesting dynamic where it's like, we were dragged to church. So then when we got out on our own in our 20s, it's like, even if we didn't walk away from faith, it's just like, having the freedom of not having to be at every stinking service is great, And so you lean into that, and the next thing you know, you're like, man, I haven't been to church in 4 or 5 months. It's like, it wasn't even ever intentional. It was just like, it just happened. But now it's like, I'm 21 and I've encountered God for the first time in my life. I want to lean into this. That is a totally different dynamic. I think
because we weren't just going to church and listening to sermons. We were on crusades. Like the post Billy Graham era was like tent revivals, crusades, passing out, walking around the neighborhood, passing out flyers and different things like that. It was, chicken, fish fries. It was all those different things. And that stuff was great. Like, some of my best friends to this day is because we shared those moments. But then as you get into your 30s and 40s, or let's say 60s and 70s, you're like, I ain't frying fish for nobody. Like, I'm not putting no chairs nowhere. I'm not walking around the neighborhood. I'm not doing any of that stuff. This is for those young legs to go do those things. And then you got these Gen Zers that's like, man, I just found out about Jesus. I want the world to know about Jesus. I'm frying fish today. Like, I want to do whatever it is. Start my digital ministry, my digital Discord. I'll do content around that stuff. They're like super duper motivated. It might be, the scripture to call the old because they're wise and call the young because they're strong. Maybe we're kind of seeing some of that, but it just looks different.
There was a clip, Nate Bargatze, in one of his specials. He said he one of his bits was he told the story of like how his parents parented him. He was the oldest child, parented him very differently than his siblings. And then he talked about like how he had all the strict rules, and all in his younger siblings, his parents like loosened up, and he's like, it wasn't fair, and whatever. And he's like, I was raised by Christian parents in the 1980s. And the 1980s Christian parents were the most Christian parents. And I was
Facts.
like, that's exactly what it was. It was like, it's changed. What happened in the 90s and 2000s? Parents got all lax. I mean, there was no question if the doors of the church were open, we were there. I mean, it was like, and so now, and I'm telling the truth to make your point, my parents, who are Christian leaders, like told me at dinner this past week, like they're really excited they found a new church. And I was like, oh, cool. And they're telling me all about it. And I was like, well, where were you going? And they told me, well, this, that, whatever. Kind of figured out that been a few years that they were just kind of floating. And I was just like, the jaw hitting the table. I could not believe my parents were inconsistent church attenders. I was just like, you told me I was going to hell if I went to church, when I was growing up. Like, what happened? But that's your point of like, we did our time, and it's like we still love God. And my mom would do her devotionals on Sunday morning. She's still in the Word nonstop. She's still as on fire for the Lord as she ever was. But they just weren't going to church as consistently. And that blew my mind. I could not.
And then I think also they fall more into, like, my mom, fire, Pentecostal, I'm talking, she is on it, but she falls more into the mentor role. Like, she's on the phone individually with certain men and women that she's been pouring, mostly young women that were kind of, a lot of single moms, because she was a single mom. So she's pouring directly into these people, as opposed to the group setting as much. So they become more like sages. So it's like you got to climb the mountain kind of to get to them a little bit. I'm sure your mom and dad probably have people that they're pouring into that they're consistent with. So I think that's also a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. Right now, there is a growing problem facing recent college graduates that I want to talk about. Overall, unemployment rates are not super crazy, but for those in their early to mid-20s with degrees, things are getting significantly tougher. So to put this in perspective, a decade ago, about 4.3% of 22 to 27-year-old college graduates were unemployed. Today, the number has jumped to 5.8%, which is a 35% increase in just 10 years.
Is that tech? Is it because of tech?
No. Well, there's a few reasons. One is tech, automation, and AI are kind of taking over a lot of those entry-level roles that recent college graduates would hope to be getting. And so they're having to go for maybe a little bit more of a mid-level role, but they don't have the experience, so they're not getting hired. And so it's kind of creating this growing gap as these companies are automating jobs that they ideally would give to young graduates.
So then you don't get a chance to get a foot in the industry that you've been studying to join. I mean, we've said this on the show. I'm not going to belabor this point, but like one of the AI tech leaders in the last 6 months said within X number of a few years, 40% of entry-level white-collar jobs, so that is college graduate entry-level jobs, will be eliminated because of AI. And so then those entry-level jobs are gone. So the people who have the experience are going to stay employed. But if you don't have experience, you can't get a foot in the door. And like, there's going to be this weird employment gap where the people, there's this 10-year gap of like, there weren't people joining these industries. The older people are going to die off, and there's not another wave of younger, experienced people coming up because AI took over all those entry-level jobs. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens 10 years from now. But right now, we're already seeing it start to take shape with recent college grads.
And that's interesting, like what you said, because I didn't think about that in the sense that if the entry-level jobs are gone and they're replaced by AI, then you don't have the next wave of executives who have been trained in that daily grind. I never thought about that. So now 20, 30 years from now, you don't have the guy that's like, I work myself up from the fries to the grill, to management, to upper management. You don't have that pipeline anymore. So we're going to, that is scary, but you want to know who's not going to be struggling to find a job? HVAC guys. They're going to HVAC is going, they're secure.
I mean,
barbers are secure. Barbers are secure.
That's no joke. Hairstylist is the number one job for future job security. Number one.
Yes.
Is hairstylist.
Because I know I don't even got no hair, but I definitely don't want a robot giving me a body.
Last time I got my haircut, I told her, I was like, you are, like, we were talking about AI for some reason. And I was like, you are literally in the most secure industry that you could. And she, what? Yeah. I was like, seriously, like the report's coming out.
Yeah.
Do you think doctors are going to be needed? No. What's going to happen is what now is a practice of 10 doctors will become one doctor using AI. And that one doctor can diagnose what the 10 doctors would have. And you have all the knowledge in the world, not just the knowledge of that one doctor, right? Because he's going to be using AI for diagnosis and things like that. So 9 out of 10 doctors will lose their jobs because they won't be needed, because the knowledge base will be better with AI. They just need somebody to implement it. I mean, like, you think all the way through all the industries, teaching is going to change. I mean, you think like teachers, it's in person. Yeah. Teaching is going to change too. How kids learn, the tools that they're going to learn with. You're going to need fewer teachers. You're going to need fewer. So then what is it? Law enforcement, military. I heard that one of the major ways that the economy is going to be propped up, because if AI does this and the entire economy gets turned upside down overnight, how do you stabilize it? Well, number one, the government's going to get a lot bigger. There's going to be a lot more government jobs. That's going to be part of it.
Yay.
And right. And two, universal basic income is being discussed already about like people who just literally cannot get employed. Well, to keep the economy solvent, we're going to have to, support these people. This is not, social safety net. This is universal basic income. And then, but the third thing that Elon Musk and other people have been talking about that are really the thought leaders that are like looking not just 5-10 years down the road, but beyond, is that the movie WALL-E is prophetic, essentially, that we will be consumers. We will be consumers of technological content. And the crisis for humanity will be a crisis of purpose. And I know I've said it on this podcast already, but that shook me. That it will be so many of us find our identity and our purpose with the work we do. And if I'm no longer needed for work, what is my purpose in getting up? What is my purpose for life? What is my purpose for existence? That's something the church needs to be leaning into.
I was going to say, Cam, you might have found something here, bro, because the Gen Zers are experiencing that a little bit more. And maybe that might also be a motivation for them to want to get deeper into their faith.
Yeah.
That could be. Because that's the thing is, like, if we're talking about it, like, I find identity and purpose in the work I do. I feel God called me to do this work. Well, if the work is not needed,
right,
what is God calling me to? Like that's going to be an interesting thing that humanity is going to have to grapple with. And again, I think the church needs to be on the front end of this conversation. Unfortunately, the church usually is on the back end of these conversations, or it takes a while to catch up. But I mean, that's going to be the crisis of I think the AI economic revolution. They'll figure out how to keep the economy strong. They'll figure out how to keep people from being homeless. You know what I mean? They'll figure that out.
Yeah.
The economy will adapt to the new reality, just like it adapted with the Industrial Revolution and other major changes over the years. But the crisis of purpose, that's going to be interesting to watch. Sorry.
It's crazy.
So we said we were going to keep it light. Why'd you bring that up?
I know. Okay, listen, we had to talk about it. I think we landed on a hopeful ending, maybe, sort of. We'll get there.
Well,
Sure.
well, maybe. Well, here's the thing. This is a good point, though. Maybe our purpose isn't our work. Maybe our purpose is our humanity and our faith in God.
Right.
And maybe it will be a correction, because there's parents that miss their whole kids' upbringing because they found their purpose in work and not being a good pops, not being a good mom, and all those different things. Not to say that they didn't want to do that, but we were tricked at times to think our productivity is the only thing that mattered. And maybe we'll find out that our productivity isn't the only thing that matters, and that just being a good human person that loves people, and maybe that's important too. So.
No, absolutely. And I think that will be a one of the healthy outcomes of this, but it really is something that like society needs to be talking about more, embracing the AI thing. Efficiency is great. The other thing, the economic disparity is going to the wage gap is going to get even wider. The richest people who can use these tools are going to get even richer because they don't need to pay people to do the work. So there's going to be that the economic disparity is going to widen. There's going to be a lot of ethical things that aren't just technological, but like the technology is going to create an ethics crisis in a couple of different ways. And again, that's an opportunity for Christians and for the church to lean into these conversations, So.
Yeah. The economic thing that did remind me, I was looking at when I was researching this, people were talking about, in order for these recent grads to have some sort of experience when they graduate, a lot of them are going to have to do maybe internships in college to hopefully get, some experience, whatever. But the issue with that is there are still a lot of internships that are either underpaid or just unpaid in general. And it's like with the more expensive college, I can't take an unpaid job. I need money, there's a lot of moving parts that I think need to be addressed in this situation.
Can I address that real quick? As a business owner, and y'all,
sure.
If you are in college right now, you need to know definitively, according to U.S. labor law, unpaid internships are illegal. Illegal, unilaterally illegal, unless it's for a nonprofit and you're technically volunteering for the nonprofit. If it's a for-profit company, it is illegal. It is the most overlooked and misunderstood labor law that exists. How I found out about this was back in 2006. Relevant staff, we're a young, scrappy startup. We had no money, but we were doing something cool. So we attracted a ton of interns. We had probably 20 people on staff and we had 30 interns every summer. And we gave them experience. They were designing and writing and doing all the things and building up and we ended up hiring a lot of them, and so many went on to great careers. It was a great opportunity, win-win. And then I read a blog interview with Mark Cuban when he was owning the Mavericks. And he wrote this blog about the fact that he had an idea. This is back in the very early days of digital media. He wanted to launch a digital media internship program for the Mavs. And this would be cool because we can't really put money into this new social media thing. We don't know what that is, but we could do this free experiment with young kids, right? And his VP of HR wrote him back and said, "Mark, this would be illegal. We would have to pay them." He said, "No, won't make any money, so we can't pay them." And they said, and then he wrote out this whole thing that he learned from his VP of HR that definitively, if the business benefits from the work being done by the intern, they have to be paid. It's called minimum wage, or else it's called, you put the term on it and what kind of labor it is.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So there's a law called minimum wage. And if you aren't going to pay a minimum wage, so you can, if you're learning to be a trucker and you go intern at a trucking company, they can teach you how to drive, but you cannot drive for the company where they benefit.
Yes.
So you can learn for free, but you cannot do any work for free. So anyway, then all of a sudden I'm confronted with reading this. And I'm looking out at my staff and there's literally 40 people and half of them aren't getting any money, and I'm going, integrity is what you do when nobody's looking.
Come on.
And I made a decision that day that we've got to stop this. I couldn't afford 20 kids. I could afford for each department to hire a part-time UCF student or a local college kid part-time to come in. And so that's what we had to do. So the editorial team lost 8 interns. They got 1 part-time kid. We had to adjust, but it's that was the right thing to do. It unfortunately meant that a lot of kids couldn't get an opportunity and build their portfolio and get experience in media the way we were doing it. But I couldn't afford it. And so like, what are you going to do? Right? Do the right thing. So that's what we had to adapt. And so like, again, college students, if you're getting internships and they're saying, well, we'll give you college credit. That is not compensation. That is illegal. It cannot be that you work for free. You have to get at least minimum wage. So stand your ground.
Talk. Pay your interns. Pay your interns.
For real.
Thank you, lawyer Cameron.
No, I'm being for real. Thank you, VP of HR for the Dallas Mavericks, because I would not have known otherwise. Everybody was doing it. Every company had free interns. NBC, like huge corporations had free interns. How are they all getting away with it? It's crazy. Anyway.
Yeah. They shouldn't be. Anyways, okay. Last thing, I know we need to wrap this up. This will be quick. Last weekend, Carrie Underwood led worship at a church down the road from me and Derek in Franklin, Tennessee.
Come on, Carrie.
Like she came in for a worship concert or something? What do you mean?
No, it's just Sunday morning worship. And they live streamed their services. And this clip went viral of her singing the song Pour Your Spirit Out at Rolling Hills Community Church in Franklin. We've got a little clip here that we'll play for y'all.
Oh, she's worshiping. That is definitely not a Carrie Underwood worship concert.
Yeah.
That is like that girl that she's been to Bethel.
That's Auntie Carrie.
That's
Auntie
real.
Carrie. I
mean, even if you watch the video, it's at our website. You should go check it out. But if you watch the video, she is doing the bowing and the hands up and she is like, it is a full on Bethel worship day. It is great. I love it.
She made pimento cheese sandwiches and pineapple fluff for the potluck. That Carrie, that's a different Carrie. That's not
Sister Carrie.
That's Sister Carrie. That's Sister Carrie.
It was funny too. Is like when I saw the grainy like streaming footage, I was like, is that really Carrie Underwood? Like, she was dressed
but she's got
like
that
she was
voice.
at church. The voice. But yeah, that's really her. And if you want to hang out in the lobby and maybe meet Carrie Underwood one day, go to Rolling Hills Community Church in Franklin, Tennessee. That's where she goes.
A mess now. Somebody gonna send a demo to Carrie in the hallway.
For real, I feel bad. We just outed where she attends with her family. But anyway. Hey, she's the one. She knew they streamed it. She knew.
Listen, you know what though? It's Nashville. Like I see worship artists in my church. Like that's just a Nashville thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, your worship team has Carrie Job and Natalie Grant on it. That's amazing. That's special. But like, it's not Carrie Underwood. You know what I'm saying? I'm sorry.
I mean, I hear you. I have the Christian Carrie Underwood. Well, I guess Carrie is Christian, so I can't say that. But
where does Tay go? I want to know where Tay go to church at. I'm trying to give her my demo.
I save her a spot every Sunday next to me.
She's going to Kansas City First Baptist now.
I
hope so.
Anyway.
Sister Taylor.
All right. That'll do it for Relevant Buzz. Make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com for all those stories and a lot more. Stay tuned. Up next, Lecrae joins us. Well, today's episode is brought to you in part by Sanctuary Mental Health Ministries. Mental health and faith are big topics to cover, even more so when you're talking with teenagers. The Sanctuary Youth Series helps youth leaders, pastors, teachers, and parents break it down, covering topics like a theology of mental health, emotions, stigma, recovery, friendship, self-care, and more. The Sanctuary Youth Series is an 8-week resource designed for 11 to 15-year-olds. Help the next generation experience the church as a supportive space for mental health. Run the Sanctuary Youth Series today at sanctuarymentalhealth.org/relevant. Again, that's sanctuarymentalhealth.org/relevant. Are you a recent college grad or about to graduate from college and have no idea what's next? Check out the Global Ambassador Program, or GAP, with ELIC. GAP is a professional development program that will help you gain the tools you need for a lifetime of impact. Be immersed in the cultures of Thailand, Tunisia, or Uzbekistan for 9 months as you take language classes, grow in your faith, and serve the local community alongside a team of other Christian young professionals. And get this, ELIC recently opened applications for 2026. You could be on a plane next summer, impacting lives and reaching your fullest potential. To learn more about GAP and take the next step, go to elic.org/relevant. That's elic.org/relevant. Well, our guest today is Lecrae. The rapper and founder of Reach Records has just released his 10th album, Reconstruction, and kicked off his world tour this month. We spoke with him about his newest project, but it was our conversation with him about his legacy and the future of Christian hip-hop that really stuck with us. Here's part of Emily's conversation with Lecrae.
And like he's so had of me problems, just getting so real here. Yeah. Try and see through these warm tears. Love is feeling really fun here. Lonely nights is like the norm here. Hey, feeling like easy, baby. I was losing my mind, gave up all of my time, but it never got easy, baby.
Well, I do want to talk about your legacy, because like we said, this is your 10th album and hopefully not the last one. But when you think about your catalog and the career that you've had, 20 years from now, what do you hope people remember?
It's a good question. I really hope. So when I did Church Clothes, Volume 1, my dream was to become like an elder statesman within the hip hop community, like the Christian version of like a hip hop leader, Chuck D or something like that. You know what I mean? Like just like the voice that people look to for the Christian perspective within hip hop. And or for a perspective that had a Christian worldview within the hip hop space. And I think that's what I just wanted to be. And I think in some degree that has happened. But more than anything, I would hope that I was a bridge from faith and culture, right? And that's what I hope people saw is like, where's the bridge that connected culture and faith together, right? Who understood us culturally enough to interpret faith to us, and who understood the faith enough to interpret it to the culture. And I think the people who've always inspired me in that capacity are like a C.S. Lewis or J.R. Tolkien or like a Francis Schaeffer, just like people who were like immersed in culture, but were trying to bring a Christian vantage point to it. And I would hope that I would go down in history as someone like that, someone who was a bridge from faith and culture.
It's interesting to hear you say that, like, even at the beginning of your career, you had that mindset. I feel like I don't hear that often. What was going on in your life when you were starting your career that like gave you that sort of overview mentality?
Some of it is like generational, right? So I'm what you call an exennial. So it's like I'm like very millennial, but like just enough of Gen X as well to like have experienced that. And I grew up around a lot of Gen Xers, and Gen Xers were like, their whole thing was to make the Christian version of something, right? Like they were like, we want a Christian club, or we want to make a Christian, like, a Christian coffee shop, or like a Christian auto body store. And like, millennials were more along the lines of like, we want to invade culture. We don't want to make a Christian club. We want to be Christians in the club. We want to like go immerse ourselves in it and bring light to it. And I think I took a little bit of that Gen X energy and the millennial energy, and that shaped the way I was going to move. I think for Gen Z, it's like, I don't know, we're spiritual. We're not like categories. I don't know what all that is. It's all big spiritual bucket, and I'm learning how to pick out of it what makes sense to me. But the Gen X in me was like, there needs to be a distinction. And that was big for Gen X, distinction. But the millennial in me was like, but I want to be in it. I don't want to be like outside of it. I want to be in it. And so it was like, I had to be distinct inside of it. And that was the only way I was going to be able to thrive as a young artist, because the Gen X's would be like, what are you doing? You're supposed to be distinct and different. And so I had to have, they trained me to have a mission. It's like, what's your mission? They trained me like that. Whereas a lot of us in millennials, we didn't necessarily have a mission. We just knew we wanted to like be light. And some of us got overwhelmed and we drowned and we got convoluted and mixed up and it got sticky and murky. So I think I had the best of both worlds is what I'm trying to say, is like distinction while in the midst of it all. Yeah.
That makes sense. It does make me wonder, do you think we'll get to a place where there is not a Christian hip hop genre and it's all just hip hop?
I think so. I do, because I mean, Gen Z, that's how Gen Z moves. I mean, names matter. So maybe for the sake of names, there may still be distinction, but I just think we like categories because it helps us to put stuff together. But I just remember when it was like, it was West Coast hip hop and East Coast hip hop. And it was like, and now no one says that. No one says like, where's West Coast rap? I mean, it may be like a sub category, but it's like, what is Drake? Is he Toronto rap or is he just rap? You know what I mean? Like when you mention Kendrick Lamar, you don't say he's a West Coast rapper unless you're trying to like talk about his origin, but his music, you just say hip hop. So I think there'll come a time where people will say, yeah, like that dude's a Christian. You can tell by his lyrics, but like the fans now are just loving it because it sounds good. And we're just giving them a different way of seeing the world. So it's like, I didn't know about luxury couture and Maybachs and champagne until someone brought that into my worldview through music. So I think we're doing the same thing in a lot of ways.
I am curious, what do you think will be like the final push to get us to this no categories genre?
Yeah, I think it's like Gen Z being so like adamant about their art perspective and just like, you're gonna see us, right? We're gonna go viral just like you're gonna go viral. We're gonna do all the, like, there's not like a sub version of it. It's like, it's a version, like everything else is a version. And I think social media is really the great equalizer in a lot of ways, right? It just like equalizes things because the algorithm is just showing you what you clicked on or what you liked. And so it's like, you just so happen to like this song by some artist. You didn't know it was a Christian artist, and now you're getting more of them. And it's like, I didn't even know these dudes were Christian. I just thought the music was great. So I think there'll always be a distinction in a sense because, you know, Christianity is exclusive, and not in a bad way, but in like we're not a faith that tells you whatever you want, whatever you believe, you're good. You know, we're pretty exclusive. We're like, actually, if you don't believe Jesus kind of is not Christianity anymore. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think we'll have a distinction there. Yeah. But artistically, I just see the walls coming down more and more, you know, especially as the quality goes up. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The thing about that and kind of your lifelong mindset as like the elder statesman, what do you see as your role in the current state of Christian hip hop or hip hop right now?
Both. I mean, within the Christian space, I think it's challenging the young artists to care as much about being literate, like biblically literate, because, you know, it saves you from making decisions that are antithetical to what you believe in. Because if you don't know like what you believe in exactly, you're liable to make decisions that are not that are misaligned. Mm-hmm. So with the younger artists, it's kind of like, hey, something as simple as like pride comes before the fall. Like, really understand what that means, because as you do all this self-aggrandizement and puffed up stuff and putting yourself on display, you're actually pushing against what God wants you to do. And it could be detrimental for you. Within hip hop, as a broader culture, I think it's being more invitational. It's inviting them. Rap is so aggressive, and you got a lot of rappers out there who like are bent on telling people outside of the Christian faith how terrible they are, how they need to change, or how they need to make better decisions. And for me, I'm like, well, you haven't invited them into another world yet. You haven't shown them what else is out there. You're like, yeah, put your drugs down. What's my alternative? You know what I mean? Like, what else heals me if not the drugs? Like, how else do I make money? So I think it's our job and our responsibility, my job and my responsibility within hip hop to be invitational. It's not us against the world, it's us for them. Do we care about them? Do we want to see them thrive? Do we want to see them have a better way of living? Then be for them. And so that's kind of how I see my role.
How do you feel like this album Reconstruction helps you accomplish that goal?
I think it's very inviting. I think I'm telling people I'm with you. Like, let's walk through this together. Hey, T.I., hey, Killer Mike, I lost somebody too. Let's all have a conversation about it. Not, well, yeah, you lost somebody, but you might die too. Do you know where you're going if you die? And it's like, wait a minute, whoa, slow down.
Yeah. Take a step back.
You know what I'm saying? It's like, can we mourn together? So it's inviting people in. And it's also, hey, what are some alternative perspectives that I haven't considered? You know, on There For You with Friday, I say, you know, you're with me 24/7, but I only gave you a few minutes. And I think anybody who is at the least God-fearing, let's say they're not Christian, they're God-fearing, they could feel that and say, dang, I only really prayed when I got in trouble that one time. Is God really with me 24/7? What does that mean for me? How do I process? Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's think about that. Like, is he that good? Better sober. It's like, I'm inviting you to sobriety. And I've seen plenty of people repost that are not Christians. They're just like, yes, 222 days sober. And it's like, I'm celebrating with you. I'm not saying, well, what's the point of celebrating if you're not going to heaven? It's like, whoa, slow down. We don't celebrate the kid's birthday now because he doesn't know Jesus. Is that what we're doing out here in these streets? So it's just being invitational and saying, man, can I walk with you? Can I celebrate with you? Can I mourn with you? And then, you know, prayerfully they see, like, what is this new way of processing that you've experienced, and how do I learn more about it? And I think that becomes how the album helps people reconstruct.
Keep me in a safe place. Leave me when I feel far away. When I don't know where to turn.
That was Lecrae. Make sure to check out his new album, Reconstruction. It's out now, and catch him on his world tour, which just kicked off. All right, stay tuned. Up next, it's One Has to Go. What if you could change a child's life with just $10? Right now, thousands of vulnerable children in East Africa are suffering from jiggers. It's a painful, preventable parasite that burrows into their feet. Soul Hope is the only organization treating it through foot washing, medical care, and durable closed-toed shoes that protect kids long after treatment. $10 may not seem like much in today's world, but when we come together, those small gifts add up to big change. Join the 10 for 10 campaign. $10 protects 10 small toes. Visit soulhope.org/10 to give now. One small gift makes a big difference. Again, that's soulhope, SOLE, hope.org/TEN. Today's show is brought to you in part by the new documentary, Buying Her. Why is sex trafficking a multi-billion-dollar industry? Sex buyers. To end trafficking, we need to put them in the spotlight. The documentary Buying Her, created by the organization Exodus Cry, is a first-of-its-kind film exposing the truth about sex buyers. It captures the unfiltered stories of men revealing how they became predatory consumers in the booming sex trade and how some of them found redemption. Buying Her strikes at the very heart of sex trafficking, and it's available to watch now for free at buyingher.com. Okay, it's time for
One Has to Go.
All right, you know how we do it. I give you 4 things. You tell me what one has to go. That's it. Okay, Emily, we'll start with you. Early 2000s rom-com queens. Now, we've asked you versions of this in the past, but this is a different list. Here we go. Julia Stiles, Mandy Moore, Jennifer Lopez, and Kate Hudson. One has to go.
Wow. Again, more women who've raised me. I think it might be Julia. No. I think it's going to have to be Jennifer Lopez.
Do you realize how much we have to edit out you and Derek sitting there for 20 seconds of silence as you deeply contemplate these?
I know.
Quicker.
Sorry, bro.
Sorry.
This
I know.
matters to me.
I know.
This matters to me. That's why it matters.
Every time it's one of you two. It's like dead silence. Anyway, all right, here we go. What'd you say?
I said Jennifer Lopez. So she just has not. Yeah, her current career is tough.
This might be a stupid question, but is Julia Stiles and Harry Styles related?
No.
Okay.
They do spell their names. They spell their names differently, so definitely not. But
all right, I didn't know. All
right, Derek. MTV staples: TRL, Pimp My Ride, Cribs, and Punk'd. One has to go.
What was the list again?
TRL, Pimp My Ride, Cribs, and Punk'd.
Oof.
Man, I think that I'm gonna have to get rid of. I guess Pimp My Ride. You can't get rid of TRL. You can't get rid of TRL.
That's shocking.
You can't.
You can't.
You can't get rid of Cribs. Well, no.
Right. Do you remember that Method Man episode?
Yes, yes. Yeah. You can't get rid of Cribs.
They had the box of cash on top of the fridge.
Yeah,
and everybody needed a few bucks.
Punk'd.
Punk'd.
Punk'd was hilarious. So, you know what? It's definitely Pimp My Ride because we found out that Pimp My Ride wasn't even halfway real.
It was all fake. Yes,
it was all fake.
But we found out Cribs was too.
It was all fake?
Well, Cribs was too. Cribs was rental houses and rental cars half the time, if not more.
Yeah, you absolutely right. You know what? Then if yes, I'm still sticking with no. I don't know, man. That was bro. You're a bad person. You're a bad person for this.
Personally, I get rid of Punk'd.
No,
I don't like
Punk'd
victims.
for sure has to stay.
Punk'd is what built social media today. Like
I know.
That is like
maybe
right.
It should
That's
be
what I'm
known.
saying. You're making my point. It was victims.
Oh man, I'm not getting rid of Punk'd. I'm not getting rid of TRL. It's either.
But once we found out Pimp My
Cribs.
Ride, once we found out it was faked, it was like it just lost everything. Yeah.
But it was also that some of those people were like put in worse positions after the car stuff was done. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, so Cribs, even though it was fake, you know what I mean? It still was entertaining and it felt like good fun. Like Pimped, it was like Pimp My Ride kind of feels like there needs to be like an expose on it afterwards. You know, like what actually happened.
I think there should be a documentary. There should be a tell-all. There really should.
Like a tell-all, yeah.
And I think they could do a lot of tell-alls on the MTV reality shows.
True that. True that.
Emily, you were young for this, but I'll be interested to hear what you say. Early 2000s iconic songs. Mr. Brightside. Since You Be Gone. Yeah, by Usher. And Boulevard of Broken Dreams. One has to go.
Wow. Okay. And so you just made fun of me for taking so long, but like, I mean, there's like, I have to think about this one.
Cameron's
this really
the jigsaw killer with these questions, bro. It's just like, you go lose something you love.
As much as it pains me, I think it's going to be Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
There you go. I agree.
Sorry. I mean, I'll still secretly listen to it, but yeah, tough.
All right, Derek, 2000s movie comedies. Superbad, Anchorman, Mean Girls, and Step Brothers. One has to go. They're very white comedies.
Mean Girls is gone.
Emily just literally gasped.
It's gone.
Like the look on her face.
It's gone. Nothing with Will Ferrell is leaving.
Sure.
I agree.
And Superbad is a classic.
As raunchy as it is.
This is a tough one.
I love it. Mean Girls is out of here. It's gone.
Just for me, give it a shot one more time. Okay. Well,
not compared to those three.
Emily,
not
just
compared
trust
to
me.
those three. Not compared to those three.
Yeah, he's completely right. All right, snack machine classics, Emily. Pop-Tarts, Cheez-Its, Fruit Gushers, and Rice Krispie Treats. One has to go.
Rice Krispie Treats. I do not like Rice Krispie Treats. I don't like the stickiness.
People either hate them or love them.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm in the middle on them. I can take them or leave them. I don't have a sweet tooth, so like it's a good sweet for me because it's not too sweet. You know what I mean?
Well, okay. Compared to all those, like Cheez-Its, that is like an all-time favorite snack for me. I really like Fruit Gushers. What was the first one you said? Pop-Tarts. I love Pop-Tarts. So it has
Homemade
to be
Rice Krispie Treats are it though. The homemade kind.
I think some of the worst Christmas treats I've ever had were homemade. So, no offense to my friends.
That sounds like a you problem. Don't blame the Rice Krispie treats. That's your friends. No, I'm saying it's a. That's your friends. You chose bad Rice Krispie treats to eat. I'm talking like the real ones, the good ones. Anyway, all right.
Your friends can't cook.
Derek, you mentioned social media era, viral internet eras. We got the Vine era, the Harlem Shake era, the Ice Bucket Challenge era, and planking. One has to go.
Vine is still kicking to this day. There's still stuff from Vine that's still making its way back up.
They're bringing it back too. They said they're bringing Vine back.
Ice Bucket Challenge was such a good cause. Not getting rid of that. So that means that we got planking and what else?
Harlem Shake.
Nah, we getting rid of planking. Planking was
Harlem Shake
weird.
was ridiculous until the 2006 Miami Heat video. With Birdman and LeBron, and that was iconic.
Wait, I thought Harlem Shake was later than that.
Oh, maybe it was 2008 or 9.
I'm not.
No, it was that era.
My high school, my senior class, we did a video to the Harlem Shake.
I'm wrong. It's not 2006. LeBron went to Miami in like 2012 or 13.
Yeah, that would have been 2012.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Of course, it was all.
Bauer changed the game with the
before social. Yeah,
before the internet.
Yeah, before the internet. Okay, let's see. Emily. Hip-hop duos in groups of the 2000s.
Oh, good Lord.
Outkast, the Neptunes, G Unit, or Black Eyed Peas. One has to go.
This could potentially be controversial. G Unit? I'm so sorry.
No, I agree with you. I'm not a 50 Cent guy.
I know how you feel when I know the feeling when I said Mean Girls. Like I know it now. It's just like right back at me, right in my heart that you would get rid of G Unit.
Well, here's the thing that's gonna
Who would you get rid of? You can't get rid of Outkast. Yeah, I knew.
Absolutely not. Fergie did so much for me.
Bye. Goodbye.
Here's the thing, and this is
what era? Hold on, what era of Black Eyed Peas? Because there's two Black Eyed Peas. There's the '90s Black Eyed Peas before Fergie, which I loved. It was early 2000s. It was backpack rap. It was like Common, Kanye, Gangstar. That era of Black Eyed Peas was sick. And then you had Fergie, and they became pop. So she loves the Fergie era.
Be good. They got one song that's out of that era for me. I rock with that one. I love that song though. That song is amazing. Yeah. But it's never gonna get through the candy shop and Get Rich or Die Trying and Young Buck, Nashville native.
In my defense,
I'm disgusted.
I couldn't name a G Unit song, so that was also my
opinion.
Yeah, you can find me in the club, bottle full of bub, mommy, I got that excipient. Yeah,
okay, maybe I could name some songs.
Yeah, you got some songs. There's some songs in there.
Basketball icons: Allen Iverson, Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Shaquille O'Neal. One has to go.
This is terrible. This is terrible. Bro, LeBron out of here, dog. Sorry.
Are you serious?
Whoa.
Yes. I'm keeping Shaq. I'm keeping AI, and I'm keeping Kobe. We get Bron out of here. I rock with you, Bron. But you're not going to take the place of them.
I love that answer. Oh, I don't know many people who would give that answer, but I agree 100%. Because
you're about to make a lot of people mad, yeah.
But I'm the guy in the 90s that didn't like Jordan because I don't like the guy who's so good you have to like him. I like the underdog. So I was a Charles Barkley guy in the 90s. I was a Shaq and Penny guy in the 90s. I was not a Jordan guy. That's how I feel about LeBron now. I'll give him his due respect. He's amazing. He's historic. Nobody can touch him, but I don't love him. You know what I mean? He's like, I'm
gonna give you my logic. This is gonna be my logic. All right, AI, you can't get rid of AI. Little man changed the way we dressed in the NBA forever, right? And took teams that should not have been in the finals to the finals, right?
Love it.
Like he took some trash teams to the finals. Kobe Bryant. We're talking Mamba mentality. We're talking about a dude that made all of his team. It was like the marketing around Kobe was like a distraction to Kobe. He was just basketball. And then you're talking Shaq. Besides Magic Johnson, one of the greatest businessmen in the business and personalities. Yeah. When you get to LeBron, at this phase, it seems like a lot of stuff is more contrived than it is a natural effect. It feels like he's creating moments. Like I would liken LeBron to Drake, and I like both of those people, but they're the same type of person, which is like you're too big to fail. Like we're not seeing natural things happen that are part of your legacy. You're just too big to fail. You have all these corporations propping you up. That's what it feels like with Bron. But all those other guys, it feels a lot more natural, just to me.
I feel the exact same way.
Shut up, Emily. You do. All right, last one, Emily. All right, I know we start with you. I'm gonna do one more. 2000s reality TV chaos: The Simple Life, Laguna Beach, Newlyweds, Nick and Jessica, or Flavor of Love. One has to go.
How you like them apples? How you like them apples?
Again, a collection of shows I had no business to be watching in the fourth grade.
I was gonna say 7-year-old Emily. It's like tuna. Tuna's not.
I was tuning into all of those. I think.
Wait, you watched Flavor of Love? Did you really watch Flavor of Love? Yeah,
you watched New York. I heard New York.
Oh
yeah, I heard New York. Yeah, of course I did.
Yes,
Again,
Flavor of Love
my parents were not watching me.
It was ratchet.
It was ratchet.
Yeah, I thought that's what it meant to be a woman. So obviously, I have some skew.
Oh no, Mom and Dad, don't listen to this podcast. She didn't say that. She didn't say that at all.
Here's the thing: my parents were not watching Flavor of Love, so I don't think they know what that reference is. So.
They think it's a nice little dating show. It's late.
Yeah,
love.
Karen, don't listen to it. No, I'm getting rid of the Newlyweds.
Nick and Jessica.
Yeah, it was fine. They kind of annoyed me.
But she was like the first like viral clip. Like when she thought like she was asking like legitimately, is canned tuna chicken? Because it's called Chicken of the Sea, and she genuinely didn't know if it was chicken or fish. Like that was like one of the first viral memes or things that went out.
Validly so. It was a hilarious moment.
That Chicken of the Sea was wild.
Yeah, remember?
She gave
I was
us
like,
good
people
moments.
are that dumb. Oh, I didn't know people were actually that dumb.
Nick more annoyed me than anything. That's really what's bringing it down.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real. He was pretty annoying.
So, bye-bye.
Still is. All right, that'll do it for...
One has to go.
Well, many thanks to Lecrae for joining us today. Make sure to check out his new album, Reconstruction. It's fantastic, and it's out now. Also, make sure to check him out on his world tour. I'm sure he's coming to a city near you. It's worth it. It's a great show. Also, make sure to check out issue 117 of Relevant. It features Allison Ide and the new wave of Christian indie. It's got Willie Robertson. It's got Portugal the Man. It's got Nathan Davis Jr. It's got the CEO of In-N-Out. It's got, it is packed. I'm not even telling you a third of the stories in there. You can read it for free at relevantmagazine.com. Also, we have an expanded, enhanced edition for Relevant Plus subscribers. It's not just the features on the website, but current and front matter and all the design from the print magazine, interactive and updated. It's really cool, and it's part of your Relevant Plus subscription. If you are a Relevant Plus subscriber, just go to your dashboard. The link is right there. If you haven't signed up for Relevant Plus yet, you can get it for as little as $2.50 a month. It's not only the expanded magazine, but it's also ad-free viewing at the website and ad-free versions of this podcast and everything we have coming out in the coming months. Go check it out. You can find out more and sign up at relevantmagazine.com. All right, on that note, we'll wrap it. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Derek Miner.
I'm Emily Brown.
We'll see you on Friday. Have a great week, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. For the latest at the intersection of faith, life, and culture, make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com. And while there, don't miss issue 117 of Relevant. The new digital issue is packed, and you can read it for free. If you want our enhanced magazine, as well as ad-free reading at the site and ad-free versions of our podcasts, sign up for Relevant Plus. Plans start as low as $250 a month, and it's the best way to experience our content. Find out more and sign up today at relevantmagazine.com.
I thought that's what it meant to be a woman.
Relevant Podcast Network.